Back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. If you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting. They're the best in the business. That's why they're #1 in Pittsburgh. 1-800-NEW-ROOFS. New Roof. They not only do roofing, they do siding, they do gutters, they do windows, they do anything you need. I would call them, so you should too. 1-800-NEW-ROOF is their number. Give me a call right now on the Borders and Borders hotline, 412-575-2600. We'll continue the Pitt discussion in a moment, but I also want to mention that Morgan Burnett wants out, just like Antonio Brown. He requested a release from his $14 million contract. It was 3 years, $14 million, about a $4 million signing bonus. He has 2 years left on that contract. And in case you never heard of Morgan Burnett, because he never played, he was missed 4 out of the first 6 games, and then basically was a third down guy and didn't make too many plays for this defense. Yeah, they signed him last year. Obviously, that's a joke. You know who Morgan Burnett is. He was supposed to be the starter, but was hurt, and then could never crack into that starting lineup again because of Terrell Edmonds and Sean Davis. But he wants out. He said he was utilized the wrong way here in Pittsburgh, essentially telling the NFL Network he didn't want to play the dime linebacker position. He wants to be a safety. You know, that's one of the reasons he was hurt. But he wants out, and along with Antonio Brown, who tweeted today something, another weird tweet about not saying goodbye, just want to say thank you. That was from Antonio Brown. But hey, back to this Pitt discussion. Marquise Jenkins just tweeted me, not fair to say Dixon didn't go after certain types of guys. He knew what he was doing, and look what he's done at TCU. Pitt's a tough place to recruit. You know, I agree with you that, but he had his guys that he wanted to go after. It felt like, and I know Dixon wanted to go after guys that were going to stay here 4 years. He didn't like the one-and-done guy. And he had a couple of one-and-done guys, or maybe McDonald's All-Americans. Steven Adams was obviously a one-and-done guy, but he didn't utilize him the correct way. Look what he's doing now in the NBA, and you hardly knew his name here at Pitt. And I'm not saying I'm not knocking Jamie Dixon at all. I like Dixon a lot, and look what he did to this program. I mean, he did not skip a beat taking over for Ben Howland. Maybe, potentially, arguably, put the basketball program in a better position than Ben Howland did. I mean, Ben Howland had a lot of work to get from the Ralph Willard days to get this program to compete on a national level, but Jamie Dixon kept it there, and had some big wins, and his streak, 10 straight, I think, or whatever, NCAA tournaments, and he was a tremendous coach, and he was a guy that loved it here. And I don't think that he would have left if it wasn't for Scott Barnes pushing him out. But since he did leave and went to TCU and is doing well at TCU, I wasn't knocking Jamie Dixon at all. But I do think Jeff Capel is a better recruiter and can get higher-end guys, the 5-star guys, and more of those guys to come here. And you said that Pittsburgh or Pitt is a tough place to recruit. I don't think they are. I really don't. They have facilities. They're in the ACC. They're playing top talent. You're close to New York. It's a big city. I think it has all the attractions that you would want for a recruit to come here. It has a good fan base. It has the potential to be an elite program. They're not a blue blood type program, but this has a potential to be an elite program. Again, Marquise, thanks for the tweet. Let's go out to the phone lines, and we're going to go out to Herb out in Renfro. What's up, Herb? How's the weather up there? You getting any snow?
Oh, it's raining up here, Rich.
Yeah, it's raining here, too.
Thanks for taking our call. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I was calling for, I want to get your thoughts on this. I've been listening to Art Rooney's interviews all week, and I kind of got mixed signals about how he feels about Mike Tomlin's future with the Steelers. Talk about his contract extension, and I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I don't know if it's mixed signals. I know that he told Bob. Bob interviewed him earlier this week. I think it was on Wednesday, and said that they're not going to give him an extension this year, but that could happen next year. I think there's always an evaluation period after every NFL season. I do not think Mike Tomlin is on any kind of hot seat right now. If it's a mediocre season next year or an underperforming type season next year, maybe you would see him on the hot seat. But I don't foresee Mike Tomlin going anywhere in the near future. Now, 3 years down the road, maybe we're talking about it, but he's going to be back next year, no question about it. And I would imagine that he would be back for the following year, no matter what he does next year, even if he has 4 wins, I think you're going to see Tomlin back for what would be the 2020 season. Then after that, I think all bets are off. But this is a team that has a lot of talent. And, you know, maybe these minor tweaks and minor adjustments and getting a new linebackers coach in here and you know, Mike Munchak leaving could potentially hurt this team. But, you know, they're making some changes. And I know a lot of people want changes to the higher-end coaches, like the defensive coordinators like Keith Butler. But they brought in Terrell Austin, the former Pitt guy. He's been a defensive coordinator in the NFL. He's a guy that's going to help this defense. And I think they're going to be better. They're going to be better because they're going to have better talent next year. They got to draft better. They got to go out and get a free agent that can help this defense, because the guys that they have right now, you can argue that they don't. Who are their playmakers on defense? T.J. Watt, Joe Hayden, Cam Hayward. Outside of that, you're not hearing too many guys' names. They need that guy in the middle, like the Troy Polamalu, the Ryan Shazier type, the guy that can make plays. And that's what they desperately need right now on defense. Offense, we're just going to have to find out what's going to happen with this whole Antonio Brown situation. You think that they're going to draft another receiver, I would imagine, if they trade Brown or go out and get a free agent. There's a couple out there that you can really cross off. Larry Fitzgerald, I don't know if I think he's either going to retire or play in Arizona, but maybe there's a Golden Tate who's a free agent. A guy like that to bring in here. You need someone to complement Juju Smith-Schuster, and I don't think that guy's on the team right now. I'm not saying that James Washington could be that guy in the future. I think you need to bring in another veteran receiver if you get rid of Antonio Brown. All right, back out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to Thomas out in Duquesne. What's up, Thomas?
How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
I listen to your programs every night, and I've heard different people talk about what should be done with the Steelers. I think their main problem is I think there are 3 people on this team that they need to get rid of.
Okay.
Roethlisberger, the coach, and Antonio, and that will settle all the problems they have on this team.
Well, I mean, you're talking about their 2 best players and their head coach. I mean,
you can't do it. They're not winning. They're not winning big games. We've heard the same story for the last 4 or 5 years.
Thomas,
here,
look,
get rid of all 3 of them.
I don't think you can't get rid of all 3 of them. You can't do that. You can't just dismantle that and then expect to compete and get to the playoffs in the postseason. But you're potentially, and it looks likely that they're going to do something with Antonio Brown, listening to what Art Rooney II said, what Antonio Brown tweets about things and about people. So I doubt that he's going to be back here with the Steelers. So look, they haven't won a Super Bowl with Antonio Brown. They could not win a Super Bowl without him, and it might be a better locker room environment, no drama. I mean, that's the one thing people have nicknamed this team Team Turmoil because of all the drama. I mean, there's been players calling them the Kardashians. Something's got to change there, and you can't just completely dismantle the whole locker room. You can't take away your 2 best players and your head coach and then think you're going to really compete. You know, you got to stick with Tomlin, and that's what they're going to do. And Ben Roethlisberger is your franchise quarterback. I mean, look at his stats this year. Yeah, you could blame some of the losses on him, and I know some of the players maybe blame him for calling out guys, but he's the guy that makes the whole offense work. And that's the toughest position to replace. And everyone is looking for a guy like Ben Roethlisberger, like we talked about yesterday. I think teams will be lining up to try to get a guy like him for even 3 years. So you're not trading this guy. You got to live with him. He's going to be the center of attention on this team. But you need playmakers around him. That's 100% sure. And if you're losing Antonio Brown, you're not going to replace Antonio Brown, but maybe you can find a guy that can complement Juju Smith-Schuster. All right, we got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls, some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.